Oh my god. Every time, man. Every time people get on a hot button topic, every time people decide to add their input, their 2 cents on what they are supporting in the gaming landscape, even if it's a detriment to a lot of other gamers, I just tend to bury my head in the sand because a lot of people say ignorant things. A lot of people open themselves up to willful ignorance, and then the gamers themselves, as a majority, we get fucked. I like to explain what's going on here and why I'm just pretty much annoyed by so many opinions I'm seeing out here in regards to the idea of single player loot boxes. Now, let's dial it back a little bit. Let's give people a brief synopsis on what exactly is a loot box and just why in the hell are people buying into it. A loot box is essentially microtransactions in a box. Think about fucking Forrest Gump, because that's exactly what's happening here. Loot boxes are like a box of chocolates, and you never know what you're going to get. So it could be some RNG factors in there. You could get random things like items, guns, equipment, skins, different characters, etc. And they are all put into this microtransaction system where you gamble your fucking butt off and you try to get certain things that might be beneficial to you. It's a ploy, it's a tactic for you to buy even more stuff if you're playing an experience for a long time. Me personally, I'm not interested in loot boxes, but I'm gonna tell you why I'm so upset here. Let's fast forward a little bit to Overwatch. Now, loot boxes apparently has been done before Overwatch. It dated back to Team Fortress 2. So now we have Overwatch, and loot boxes blew the fuck up. Everyone wants them. People are buying into the practice. There we have it. It's set in stone. People are now looking at the Overwatch devs. They want a piece of that pie. They want a piece of the action. How do we also make that type of money into our game? Fast forward to 2017. I don't know about you guys, but now we have games that have a freemium model of loot boxes where you can grind your life away for points, and it's set up to be that way, and you have to buy into the loot boxes if you want a particular character or skin, because you're going to be stuck to grinding your butt off until you get those points. Now we have single player loot boxes. Now you see it's getting pretty ridiculous. It's getting fucking crazy. Single player loot boxes are equivalent to having things locked behind a paywall unless you want to grind your life away again, and it ties back into the freemium model because Shadow of War has a entire ending locked behind getting certain orcs and equipment that you can get faster in loot boxes. I think the loot box for that game to get the gold orcs are somewhere around the price range of $20. But you get my point. You see what direction we're going into now. Now Assassin's Creed Origins has loot boxes in the single player. What's happening now is there's content that is vital to the game, because I would say for Shadow of War that is pretty vital, having a grindy end chapter that you cannot access until you either play a week of gameplay or you buy a loot box. So this is a big issue that's happening right now, and I think a lot of people are complaining. They're saying that, well, it's our money, so we can do whatever the fuck we want. True, it's your money, but where do you draw the line? What precedent does this set for us? Do I want to just sit there and have these companies have us suffer when we pay to fuel them? So it shouldn't be the other way around. The company should be groveling to us, and they make us suffer for their content by locking it away. Do I really want to pay full price for an incomplete game? Then I need to buy a loot box in order to access my full ending to complete my single player experience. Fuck and no. I mean, hell, if you are the type of person that likes to sit there, be willfully ignorant and say that, well, yeah, I'm gonna buy Shadow of War because I liked Shadow of Mordor, so I'm not going to pay attention to what anyone is saying. I'm going to take a blind eye and just enjoy the game. I'm not part of the problem. I'm not paying for a game where I have to grind out to get my single player ending. I have to grind out for a week in advance to get my ending. Even though I don't care this much, I'm going to overlook it. I'm totally going to support this practice with my $60. And totally I'm going to see what precedent it sets, because that's fueling the empire. That's giving the developer money and showing them that, hey, we can get away with this. We can totally just turn that person over, spread their cheeks wide, and have a fucking bonanza, because this is ridiculous and people are buying into it. Now people are deflecting as well. I told myself personally, I'm not buying Shadow of War because of this. I was a big fan of Shadow of Mordor. I'm sticking to my convictions. I'm not buying the game unless it's going to be used. Not buying any loot boxes. If it's a used game, then the developer won't get any of my money, and neither will they get my money if I decide to pirate this experience, if I decide to yarhar the fucking thing. However, the damage control has been tremendous. A lot of people out there are trying to appease every form, every facet of the developer, trying to find every bit of damage control into buying Shadow of War. Oh, it's for my personal entertainment. Who cares what other people thinks? Blah, 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 etc. You're forgetting the point. People out there are saying, oh, well, because The Last of Us Part 2 is going to come out and it's going to be a critically acclaimed masterpiece, that doesn't mean that you're going to skip out on the game. You're forgetting the point. You're forgetting the issue. If The Last of Us has loot boxes, and therefore the online only, and they don't affect the single player, then I won't care. But if The Last of Us Part 2 does have loot boxes, if The Last of Us Part 2 does compromise the story for DLC practices, for microtransactions, for loot boxes, guess what? I'm not going to buy and support the game, because I am not a weak-minded bitch that fuels a company. That's how it goes. If I want to show a developer my anguish, my frustration, I don't buy their fucking game, because I'm not a weak-minded motherfucker. And I know people are saying, well, it can't be avoided. You can't avoid it no matter what, because you keep fueling these practices. Stop being hypocrites. Stop saying, well, you know what? Because you bought into PlayStation Plus and you bought into Xbox Live because it's mandatory to play the online multiplayer with having PlayStation Plus and Xbox Live, you're still a part of the problem if you say, well, I bought Xbox Live and PlayStation Plus before. I'm only human. Humans can fuck up and make mistakes. So what? But you're still fueling the empire. And you can't have double standards where you're trying to call people out on the same thing you supported as well. Some of these fanboys don't even make sense at all. You can go suck someone's motherfucking toes to get single player loot boxes in Last of Us if you prefer, but I won't, because once again, I am not closet minded like some people to not support a practice and stick by his convictions. I mean what I say. A lot of people are trying to downplay things, saying that it's diminutive to speak out. We don't have this voice that's loud enough, and it happens anyway, so the gamers get fucked over. But if PewDiePie, for example, says that, well, fuck loot boxes, I don't care, and he has like about millions of subs, you think people aren't going to back someone like that if they speak out? When it comes to being a collective, we have to stand together, and if people don't like it, support the message. Why is that so hard? Why do people have to say that, oh, well, if you supported this or supported that, you're fucking guilty? No, we're all fucking guilty. Even the people who are buying Shadow of War, you are just as guilty as the rest of them. So there's no excuse if you support that. The difference between me and you is due to the fact that if there is a game that cuts out every single thing that is mandatory to making a video game itself, having a story, having equipment in the game that you can use constantly, if they put it behind paywalls, if they really detract it from the experience, if you really don't get the meat on the bones when it comes to that particular game, then what is the point of even investing your time, your money into it? What is the point of even giving it a test drive? A spade is a spade, and an incomplete story-driven game is just that if they go down this route. So why not pull the wool from your eyes and call it for what it is? I personally can't get behind a game that locks your endings away, that locks your content away, and you have to be cock-blocked behind a paywall. And for the people saying, well, there's loot boxes in every game in general, there's practices that can't be avoided. Well, two things that I have to say before I close out on this video. Number one is, we get it. There's practices you can't avoid. There's games that you are very tempted to get. But on the other hand, if there's a varying degree, a varying playing field of loot boxes, then people could not care for them. Like, okay, let's say if Last of Us had loot boxes, right? But they didn't take away my ending and I was focused on the single player campaign for Last of Us Part 2. I don't care about loot boxes and multiplayer. I never buy them. I never support them. So why wouldn't I still try out the experience? I don't care about that stuff. I'm not giving Naughty Dog any more than $60. So why would loot boxes matter to that point? But if they fuck with the single player, you have to buy like 5 chapters for $30, like a hypothetical. Then of course I'm not gonna buy the game. I will buy it used just out of curiosity, and the developers can go fuck themselves. I never bought any of the Arkham games on launch. I always waited for a Game of the Year edition, and I got all my content for a lesser price, used. And then, secondly, if you think your voice is so downplayed because of corporate, then why each and every single time there's an issue with a PC game that PC gamers are the most vigilant? It's because, yes, people do have a voice, they do come together, and PC gamers, they don't take kindly to any bullshit, and they will speak up harshly or refund. Simple as that. Imagine if the refund system was on PS4 or Xbox Live. I think there is a procedure on Xbox to refund your games, but imagine if everything worked exactly like Steam. 2 hours of playtime, then you own the game, but then you can decide to judge if you want to keep playing more or refund your experience. Imagine how many fucking developers would not try any of those practices, and why PC has so much user control when it comes to not being dicked over like this. Think about it, people. You can be a smart consumer. Don't be a fucking sheep. Whatever you do, think outside the box. Stop correlating things in the same ballpark as some cosmetic DLC that I'm going to buy that I could give a fuck about over a single player experience where things really matter there. It matters to have that component in the game. Stop thinking that, well, if I support this practice of single player DLC being stripped away and it's really, really bad, that I'm going to turn the other cheek because I like being entertained. Use your brain and understand this sets a precedent in the future and is going to hurt us in the long run if all these practices are embarked on, because the developers think that you guys are fucking sheep. They want to profit off you, and you're dumb enough to give them your money and not think twice about what's going on behind the scenes. I know you guys can think for yourselves and decide, do I really want to support this model or not? And it's easy to say no. Don't get mad if a game doesn't sell well, because the proof is in the pudding. The game needed to do more. I understand it sucks that your favorite game might not sell well, but if it's doing something really shady, don't support it. And let it show in the numbers. And support the message. If people are saying, this ain't cool, man, it needs to stop, it needs to die, that's exactly what embarks on change. And don't ruin it for everyone else because you're salty and you want your entertainment. Stop being a prima donna and listen to the facts. Anyway, I think I'm done for today. I'm not mad, just disappointed that a lot of people only see the entertainment value and they embark on a path of false equivalence, hypocrisy, double standards. You name the fallacy, is probably there. And it's very disappointing that a lot of people allow themselves to get fucked by corporate when we can turn them around, pop that pussy up, and show them that we just aren't taking this shit as gamers. You know? We are the ones who built you from the ground up, and as usual, if you don't have money to fund these massive $1 million AAA games, then guess what? You aren't going to do so well in terms of the numbers. And it shows each and every single time what wins and what doesn't for a variety of different reasons. Don't believe that the gamers don't have a voice? Look at DMC Devil May Cry. The entire history of that. I'm pretty sure there's videos of it. Go look at how Capcom and Ninja Theory thought it was a good idea to shit on the Devil May Cry fan base, and they lost out on money each and every single time. They lost out on target goals each and every single time. And then there was these fucking sheep complaining, oh my god, why didn't the game sell well? Well, it's not like Capcom didn't take a big shit on the audience. Please understand that there is a time and place for everything. And the time to be a fanatic blindsided by some false hope isn't one of them. If they really screw up, you can guarantee that they will get unleashed criticism from me. No one is ever above it. And the fact that people allow this is kind of disgusting. So I will see you guys next time. Renew your convictions if you're really making all these double standards. And once again, I am out. See you later.